and welcome to Dice Jesters. And my name is Julie.
And my name is Dave.
And today Dave and I will be discussing Notre Dame. So, Dave, before we get into the setup of Notre Dame, why did you pick to play it?
I picked to play it for a couple of reasons. In our first 10x10, you really liked games that had some cool card play and stuff. And this game has a unique aspect of card drafting that I think is cool, where you actually get to pass cards to your opponent back and forth. Mm-hmm. And also, this is designed by my favorite designer of all time, Stefan Feld, who has some really exciting games. And this is one of his earlier designs, so I thought it'd be cool to show you this as your introduction to Stefan Feld, assuming you like his games. It'll be cool as we play more of them for you to look back and see how it really kind of started and how his design has evolved over the years. So that's why I chose this.
So you said that you get to pass cards back and forth. Is it kind of like Jekyll versus Hyde? Where we pass cards that we don't want to one another?
That's a good comparison. I didn't think about that.
Oh, but yeah. Got you. I know. I'm here. I'm ready to learn.
Yes, I'm ready to teach. I'm really excited.
Okay. Well, first off, looking at it, how is this set up? Is this the two-player setup, or is this just how the board is in general? Because right now it looks like a pinwheel that you go outside with during the summertime and you blow on it.
Oh, I love
watch
those.
It spin.
And I can see the comparison, and I know this board looks kind of strange. Mm-hmm. It's kind of wonky, and it's almost hard to put together. But this is actually for a 4-player game. You can see there's 4 different sectors on the board. But it's the same set for 2 players. We just play only in 2 of those areas.
And am I allowed to look through these cards, or do you have them set up and ready to go for our first game?
I would say you're going to look through them because I don't think you'll know what anything means. So if you want, do you want to take a look at some of the artwork and stuff?
Yeah. I can do that. Huh. Ooh, I love this one because this one's a little jester. Did you pick it because there's a jester in this game?
That's exactly why I picked this. Well, you just said that you wanted some like Renaissance games in our last 10x10. That'd be a cool theme. So yeah, there's a few Renaissance games in this list, I think.
Okay. No, that's very true. I did say that. I love the Renaissance era, hence Jesters, and some other reason for picking that name. Anyways, so I see that there's rats on here. Ooh. Perhaps the plague is out to get you. So here is coins, points, and we both have cubes and this plague doctor-esque guy. The spaceship with the body.
I'm going to go with spaceship because there's aliens in this game.
Definitely not. And this caravan. So my guess is that you move this caravan to the spot with the yellow, where it starts with the block, so that you can collect more of your family. And then you move your family throughout the map, and it looks like you want to move them to the ship to get them on the ship to escape the plague. And that is my guess.
That'd be really cool. So I love the fact that you mentioned the plague and noticed that with the rats. I don't know if this is the plague doctor. It's called your little trusted friend, I think it's called. But there is a plague aspect of this, and it takes place in the 14th century. It says that we are assuming the roles of heads of influential families in Paris at the end of the 14th century. In the shadow of Notre Dame Cathedral, players compete for prominence. Mm-hmm. But since the plague is going on, 14th century Paris, there is an aspect where at the end of each round you have to count up the rat value, and that's how far up your rats will move up the track. And if your city or neighborhood becomes overrun with rats, bad things can happen. Okay. But you weren't trying. That's not the goal of the game, to escape the city. You're trying to build up your neighborhood and fight off the rats and deal with that. But you got some aspects right. You have this caravan thing in the middle that can travel around. You can pick up things. But these cubes, you'll actually be using this from the cards in your hand. And the cards will let you do certain actions. But you'll basically be playing cards that will let you place cubes from your supply onto your board, which is your neighborhood district. And the more cubes in each area of the board, the more powerful that action will become. So you can invest in one type of action and do that really well, or you can spread it thin and just see what works best for you.
Okay. And is the point to get most points, or since we're not escaping, is it just a point game? Right?
Yeah, just points. So there's a number of ways to score points in this game. That's kind of what he's known for, is getting points from a variety of methods. And there's points you can get from these messenger tokens that you can pick up. There's points from a certain district in your neighborhood. Oh, in the middle of the board, there's this Notre Dame cathedral, and we are building this cathedral and can contribute to that, and that's one way that you can get points as well. So,
Okay. Well, seems pretty straightforward for the most part. I mean, the building up the neighborhood by placing blocks and stuff sounds a bit confusing. That I'll have to figure that out. But otherwise, it seems like the objective is just to get the most points.
Yeah. What are your impressions of the artwork and everything, the aesthetic appeal of the game?
I like it. I like that it looks like its own little map.
Yeah.
And I do like the, I don't know what to call that, the dock?
Mm-hmm. The port or something.
The port, yeah. Where there's a cute little rat meeple that travels up the port for you.
Oh, I should say that the rat meeple I actually got custom for this game.
Oh.
It comes, I think the game originally has black cubes for the rat track.
Oh, okay.
But I thought it'd be cool to get these little rats to put on the board.
Cute.
I'm glad you like them.
I'm surprised Lupin hasn't taken them away.
I know. I always like to find creative ways to enhance the game experience, so.
No, that's good. Oh, speaking of enhancing the game experience,
Ooh.
I have a scent. So I didn't make it into beads, and I didn't make it into an oil yet. I just made it into kind of like a test scent.
Yeah.
So you just have to smell the stick. But well, do you want me to tell you what I gone with, or do you want to guess?
Oh, we should do that. So you guess what the game was about. I'm going to guess
the set.
Yeah, the set and how it ties to the game.
All right, well, here you go.
Okay. Is this like coffee?
Yes.
Okay. Is it because... Hold on, I got it.
Okay.
Coffee, because you saw the game Notre Dame, you knew it took place in Europe, and you're thinking coffee in Europe is good?
Yeah. Yes, and then it has some chocolate in it to give it a more, I don't know, deep smell. Because the chocolate doesn't smell like chocolate. It smells more like dark chocolate, you know, where it's less sugary. So it's kind of like a dark chocolate espresso.
I wonder if you could have come up with a scent that smelled like the Black Plague.
The 14th century. All of the scents, I'm sure. Well, actually, you could do the flowers that were in the Plague Doctor's mask.
Oh, like the beak thing?
Yeah, they put flowers and spices and different scents in there so that they wouldn't smell the plague. So you could do that. That is a good idea. You said that there may be more Renaissance games on here. I haven't seen the covers to all of them yet, but perhaps I could do some research, find out what scents those are.
I would love that. Well, shall we jump in and I can show you how to play?
Oh, yes. We shall definitely jump in. And we are back after my first play. And let me just say, those rats are so annoying.
Why?
Because if you spend time trying to lessen them, you are wasting turns not gathering points because you're getting all of your people into the, I don't know, portions of the community.
The hospital?
Well, there's like two. There's like this park and I guess the hospital where you can get rid of rats, but they don't do anything other than that. So it's, yeah.
Well, do you want to try to explain roughly what we're doing in this game?
We are collecting points, and you can collect points. So what you want to do is try to collect cubes, because the more cubes you have, the more places you can utilize them, because if there is more than one cube per slot, you get bonus items. So let's say you need lots of gold coins and you have one cube on that portion of property, I guess. You only get one gold coin, but if you add a second cube, now you get two. And then anytime you move there and activate that spot, depending on how many cubes already occupy that area, will depend on how many more points or coins or cubes or rats you get to take away and whatnot. So there's that. I think the best strategy, okay, I guess I don't know the best strategy. I played once. But I was going to say is...
Wow, you're getting really good at games. You can play games and see the strategy.
Like, let me teach you, Dave.
Well, I guess it's a good question, though, is after playing it one time, did you see any clear strategy, or what was that process like for you?
No, my mind hurts.
Your mind hurts?
My mind hurts because I want to get more points than you, obviously, but it seems like a game where you can play many different ways to get lots of points.
Well, you did get more points than me in this round.
No, I know. But that's because I kept going to the cathedral.
Oh.
But going to the cathedral subtracts cubes. So then I have less cubes the next round.
That's true.
To move around or get bonuses with and whatnot. And so then I have to waste one of my turns going to the cube slot to literally get a cube. And so now, I don't know. I ended the game with only 5 cubes while you're over there with, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You have 13 cubes. And our scores are so close. So I guess it's a resource game. I guess cubes are your resource, and you have to figure out what you want to do with said resource, whether you want to get points only but know that you would lose the cube, or if you want to distribute your resources in a way that they make points for you if you play that region again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say it is a resource management game at its core, because you do have to manage those cubes. Otherwise, when you run out of cubes, you have the option to be able to move one from one district to another, so you're not completely out of luck. But you do a lot better if you're managing those more efficiently.
Yeah, because if you move one from one district to another, now that district has no cube, so it's like starting over. So if you wanted to get 3 coins when you land in that district, now you can only get 2 because you got rid of a cube to move it somewhere else.
True.
Yes.
How did you find the experience of learning this game with the iconography and everything? What was that like?
I don't know if it's the shape of the board game or what, but moving this caravan around is really confusing, so I tended to ignore it a bit.
Oh,
because moving it from place to place, I just didn't want to ask too many questions about it. But now that we played around and I kind of understand the movement, I'm just pretending that these lighter portions are the road, and that's just how you move it. So as long as you could stay on the lighter portion and connect to wherever you're trying to go, that is the road to move the caravan. Is that right?
Yeah, it is kind of strange looking at it, knowing where it can stop, but yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. And then knowing that you can't do the same color until you get all 4 colors. That's kind of a challenge, because then you have to figure out, okay, how many how many cubes do I have to put in the caravan district to make sure that I can reach a different color. Otherwise, it would just be a lost cause.
Yeah.
So that's another item. But if I'm looking at the board, I tend to stay on this left side. Is it the left side for you? Yeah. The left side of the board where it has the minus rats, and then there's one that lets you get a cube, a coin, or minus rat, and then after there's 3 in there, you get double, so you can get 2 cubes, 2 coins, or 2 minus rats. And then I like this green plot, the park, because it's minus a rat, and then if there's 2 cubes, anytime you get a point, you get 1 additional point. So that's nice.
That's a cool bonus. I love my bonuses.
Yes. So yeah, that's what I've gathered from this first round. And then I found out that I need to look at the rats on the cards that you can purchase at the end of the rounds before planning my moves, because if there's 8 rats, I'm going to want to get rid of some of the rats.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what's coming. And I found myself, I think, in some of the rounds, not paying attention to the plague value at the bottom of the cards to know how far up the track my rat was going to move. And it got really close to becoming overrun with rats. But I was able to successfully keep the rats at bay. Get it? Because they're on the water.
Okay.
Yeah. In this game. But the threat, what actually happens if your rat goes all the way up to the top of the track and you have to move it further, is you lose 2 points and you have to take a cube off of the district with the most cubes.
Yes.
So what do you think, like, in terms of player interaction in this game? I know that we've enjoyed games in the past that let you be a little bit cutthroat. How do you feel like that level of interaction was in this game?
I know that for this game you could take turns, but I see us not taking turns in future games, because as long as we don't go to the cathedral, it really doesn't affect one another.
Right.
From my point of view. Like, I could lay down a cube card to get another cube, and that has nothing to do with your cubes. And I can lay down mostly any card minus the cathedral card and the caravan card, because the caravan, you might run into my spot and I might want to go to your spot, so that's the one that we kind of have to watch and know whose turn it is. But other than that, it does seem like you can just take turns simultaneously.
Yeah, I think like it can move really fast in a 2-player game. Our first game was probably around 25 or 30 minutes, but I think we could get this down maybe even to 15 if we really focused.
Okay. Yeah.
How like learning this game, just first impressions, how would this compare to other games we've played so far in your board gaming journey? And what do you think is different about this one?
It's definitely different than Jekyll versus Hyde. I know I said when you had mentioned the whole, we go back and forth, but Jekyll versus Hyde, you got to pick 2 to get rid of, and then, they were just gone. Well, in this one, you kind of have to guess what the other person's doing, and then you have to decide if you want to take a card that person's gonna need.
Yeah.
But in doing so, you lose the chance of taking a card you might want. So there's been times when you could go into the cathedral, and I already saw myself in the cathedral. So I took the cathedral card, even though it wouldn't help me. I just knew that as long as you didn't have it, you could go in. But after doing that, I had looked down and saw that you had no coins.
Yeah.
Then I was, in my mind, I was just like, that's a bad move. Why did I do that?
And I never like to be in a situation in this game when you don't have coins, because you need it for the cathedral, and then at the end of each round to use the help of one of those cards on the side.
Yeah.
So I agree. And I like the aspect of looking at my hand and your board and thinking what you could possibly use. And I don't want to pass that to you, but
yes.
I also need to do things too. So would you like to take a 10x10 journey of this game and dive into it a little bit more with me?
Yeah, because I'm unsure about this game. I know that usually after the first round I'm unsure, but I think there's different strategies and different ways to win. It seems like this first round I went into the cathedral a lot, and looking at the board game still, I want to try a different route.
Yeah.
So I want to see if it'll work.
Well, sounds good. Well, we can play 9 more rounds of this,
okay,
and then come back and then discuss it at that point.
Okay, so it's good. And we are back after 10 plays, and let me just say, Dave, that honestly, when we were playing it, I thought, wow, this is boring.
Really?
But then we got down to the final 3 rounds, and I switched up what I was doing, and I was like, wow, okay, it has some depth. So
what did you switch up?
You know
like, I decided to win.
I just wanted to win, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going for the cathedral a lot because you get 6 points if you're the only person in there. And I kept taking those cards. Even when you passed me it, I took it too, so that I would have 2 cathedrals in my hand, so that in the event you wanted to play it, you couldn't. And so I kept getting the points, but I was wasting coins to technically get 12 points because I would spend 3 to get 6, and then I'd be the only one in there to get 6 more.
True.
But then I wouldn't be able to use the bonuses, so then the rats were getting me a lot.
Those rats.
And although I was doing that, and from what it seemed like, getting a majority of the points, it wasn't true, because technically you could, if you maxed out on that, so there's 3 rounds, there's A, B, C, and if you did it, you would only get, 24, 36 points by the end of the game if you did it all 3 rounds and was the only one all 3 rounds. And I didn't realize that until way later in our games that we've been playing, like the rounds, well, I don't know, not full-on games. And I didn't realize it, and I was like, what am I doing? So then I switched it up. I decided to utilize the caravan, even though it scared me in the beginning, and go around the map more, because the caravan, some of the tokens give you 4 points, some give you points and take away rats, some give you points and give you coins, and then I forgot what the other one was, because there were 4 different ones. But that was more helpful because then it was as if I had 2 turns, and I didn't realize that until we were playing, because if you get the no rat, that's as if you were on the park or that blue district and took away a rat, but you got to get points or coins with it, not just, I took it away and now that's my whole thing. So I did that, and then I started to utilize the park more, because with that you got 1 extra point, and that 1 extra point builds up because you get 1 extra point every time you get a point. So then you could stack that with the caravans, with the points, because if you have 3 cubes and then just keep adding cubes to that, you get more points. So what I did was, even though the rats came and attacked me, I still...
Sorry, there was one round where you were like, I have to fall to the rats this time.
Yes. But even though they came and attacked me, I was okay with it because it only took away 2 points and a cube, and I had most of my cubes out on the board. So there were many regions with the quote-unquote most, so I got to pick what cube got taken off, and I was okay with taking the cube off of the caravan ones because I decided to I decided to start ending my journey of the caravans. So by removing those cubes, they didn't hurt me. But then that next time, I would get the 2 points back right away because I would try to get a card or try to get something to get points. So then I got that additional point from the park, that green district, and so I made up for the points right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I know, that was a long explanation.
Wow. What a journey.
I
do. There were some rounds where I was so intently focused on keeping the rats away, and then some rounds where I just decided to not care about them. And I couldn't tell which method was better, because all that happens when you fall to the rats is you lose a cube from the region with the most cubes on it, and then lose 2 points. But if you can find a way to outdo that every time, it's not that bad to have to take that hit.
Yes.
The one area that you were talking about was at the park where you get the extra point every time if you have at least 2 cubes there. So if you have 4 cubes, then you could get 2 points every time. Yes. And I did that one round, and that was such a good scoring round. But that round where I had 4 cubes on there, I had to make sure that I could keep the rats away because I didn't want to lose a cube on that spot because I had the most there. So this game was all about balance, I think. Like balancing fighting off the rats, balancing finding a way to get points, but also building up an engine, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Having an area where I'm really strong at, and every time I put a cube there, I'm going to get a lot of that stuff. But by doing that, there's also an area where I'm lacking, and I'm going to have to find a way to get that. And was it the caravan, or they're called carriage? The carriage tokens?
The carriages, I'm not quite sure. I just called it the caravan because that's what it reminded me of.
Like, I thought that was kind of a fun way to add something in where there's another way to get something, because I might have all my cubes where I'm getting money or getting points or something, but then I need something else, so I'll use the messenger token to get that one thing that I'm missing. So there's always a way that you can figure it out, but some rounds you're just looking at everything and thinking, oh, how am I going to make this happen? But you also want to get the most points. So I found balancing all that to be pretty fun.
Yeah, and this is my first game by this designer, and I kind of noticed that there's lots of distractions. Yeah. And I think the rat is a big distraction, but there's solutions to the distractions. So then my first, 4 games, my blue space was very heavy. I never owed rats. Yeah. Because all of my cubes were there, but those were low-scoring games. And then when I started to branch out to different portions of the map, I scored higher. My highest score was 62 points. And I don't know how I did it. I don't remember, but it happened.
Well, you won the 10 by 10.
By one.
Because we were tied and then we played one more round.
Yeah. But I don't know if this is true or not, because did you Google it too? But it did say that people get over 100 points in this game.
I just don't see how that's possible.
Yeah. And are we not utilizing things correctly? Or maybe that's for 3 players.
Even then.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know. It's just, it seems really difficult. And I mean, you and I played it 10 times, and our score stayed around the 40s to 50s. Yeah, our average score was... Oh, it's funny. You won the 10 by 10, but my average score was 1 point higher. I was 43.47, and you were 42.11. Yeah, I don't know. So right around there. It was difficult. Maybe if you ignore the rats and really go on the point gathering portion and just give up the 2 points that it takes when you're eaten by the rats or whatever it is. When the rats succumb eat your to the cubes. Plague. Yeah. Maybe there is a way, because there was like 12 to 15 blocks. So if you get a majority of them on that park spot and then get a majority of them in the point section, you would be up to, you could get 10 points from landing in there, you know?
Yeah.
And you could just keep that going. So then if you came to the rats, it's okay because it's only taking 2 points in 1 cube, but then you just put the cube back on there, and then boom, 10 extra points.
Boom.
I don't know, I feel like we have to play it one more time.
It sounds like you're making this a mathematical equation.
I know, and I think I approached this incorrectly. I think I should have approached it as a mathematical equation, and I should have approached it as a, hey, look at the best outcome. Why are you getting distracted by mediocre things?
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that there's a lot of things to distract you, and I wonder if that's intentional in his design style, because his games are known for having a lot of different ways to score points. And this one is kind of mild in that regard. Mm-hmm. There's a few ways to get points, but some games it's like you breathe and you get 5 points. That's what it feels like. But I think that's kind of, it could be potentially in there for a reason, to get you distracted by so many things, because I think you can't necessarily do everything and do well. You really have to narrow your focus and try to get really good in that one area. Mm-hmm. But when you have a lot of different ways where your attention can go, it is difficult to do well. So it really forces you to have to pick and choose what you're going to do and almost calculate it out, the benefit. That's when I started looking at the rats and calculating, okay, if I get rid of a coin to get rid of the rat count in this round, that's actually not as good as using a coin to do something else that gives me more points and then take the hit from the rats. It's a distraction to make you think that something bad is happening to you, when really it's just diverting your attention when you think about it.
I love how you kind of like read into the game, right? Because I just had the thought. So, every time you've showed me a board game so far, I've gone, oh, I like the art, or oh, the art this. I get distracted by the art. And the way you discussed the playing aspect of it just now, it actually reminds me of art. So I know I'm bringing it back, but when an artist makes something, it's kind of like how people design games. The artist makes it and they portray it one way, right? And then people look at the art and they go, oh, the artist means this. Yeah. Even though the artist was like, no, I just wanted to paint something blue, and that's what that is. And then the designer of the game, they could have made this game and said, no, the rats isn't a distraction, it's just part of the game. And then we're saying, no, they're meant to distract us. And I just made that connection. I think that's interesting because we could do that with any game. So, for example, Azul, the designer could say, oh, you want to fill it. And then we see it as, no, you want to finish the row as soon as possible so the other person can't get any more points.
Right.
So I feel that, I know this is an interesting discussion point. It might sound confusing.
No, this is awesome.
But I think it's just interesting that it kind of correlates with one another, where they made a game, they have these aspects of the game, but everybody can interpret it differently. So
I love that.
Yeah.
It's a really cool concept. And the fact that it's almost like when we open a box and play a new game, it's a whole journey awaiting us. Mm-hmm. Because at first you think, oh, this game is A, but then you realize that there are layers of B, C, D, and E, and then below that, B and a half.
Yeah.
And I think that it's cool knowing that there might be even hidden strategies within the game that aren't apparent at first, but the more you play it, the more you see that. Mm-hmm. And it could be due to the nature of what the designer intended, but I also love the idea, we joked about playing a game that's within the rule set, but not in the true nature of the game. That's always fun to explore as well. Mm-hmm. But I get what you're saying. Yeah,
and it is interesting too, because especially with the whole, how we go in, you show me a game I've never seen before. Well, obviously I haven't seen mostly all of your games, but you show it to me, I take a guess just based off of looks, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I am close to spot on, and other times, like this time, I was completely far away from it. And so I'm going in with the aspect of, oh, I think it's played like this. And then you teach me, we play the first round, and I'm usually confused and have to play a few more rounds to get into it. But then there's that gradual growth of strategy from it. So regardless of what game we play, there's the initial impression where I'm very confused. There's the learning curve, and then there's the strategic mindset of, okay, what is my strategy going to be now? Mm-hmm. Now that I understand how to play, now that I understand all the pieces, how can I capitalize on a district or something to get the most points.
And do you feel like there's a certain timing within the 10 by 10? Or is it after you've played the game 5 times or 7 times or 8 times? When do you think it truly starts to click, or does it depend on the game?
It depends on the game. So for this one, honestly, yes, I was going through the motions for most of the games and maybe perceived as understanding it, but I didn't really understand it until I let the rats go.
Until you let the rats go.
Until I let the rats go, because I was staying on those 2 districts for most of my games.
Yeah.
And then I finally said, you know what? These rats are going to get you. They're going to get you.
No matter what, at some point.
Yeah, I'm just going to let them, if they want to infestate my districts, like, fine. So then I went to all the other ones, and from doing that, it seemed easier to collect points after I came to terms with the rats.
It was fun because when you and I were playing, I noticed that you were paying pretty close attention to what I was doing. It seemed like at any point in time you knew how many points I had, you knew what I was going for, and then you started anticipating my moves. Like, there was one round where my last move, I put a cube in Notre Dame, and you had planned to do the exact same thing because you knew that that's what I was planning on doing.
Or maybe we just had the same mindset.
Maybe. Did you find yourself watching me a lot? Or
I was counting your points.
Oh.
I know, that's why the second to last game, when you said you won, I was like, wait, what? No, I won. And then I forgot that I gave 2 points to the rat, and I was just like, that's what lost me. No, because you got 50 points, I would have had 51.
Oh, yeah.
But then I had to give 2 points to the rat king.
Yes.
What
would you say was the funnest aspect of this game?
The rats.
It all comes back to the rats.
Because it was so threatening. You never knew when they were coming. You didn't know the number. You couldn't predict the cards because they were shuffled and you used different cards. So the rat aspect, I would say, was the most fun and my least favorite part all at the same time.
Everything in one.
Yeah.
I really like those person cards that they're...
Oh, yes.
There's
those are fun.
a certain set that are the same every game, and then there's another deck that's randomized. And it was cool just... Every once in a while, I didn't find them particularly helpful, but there were some rounds where, wow, I was able to really capitalize on the benefit. Like, there was a round in one of our final plays where you got a lot of points. I can't remember how many you got.
Oh, are you talking about the first round where there was ×2 and I went into the cathedral right away and got 6 points because one of the cards said ×2 of whatever points you have, so then I had 12 points in the very first round. Are you talking about that one?
No, there was one that was based on the cubes. Do you remember that?
Oh, the last round? Like, the very last round where it was whatever cubes you still had that weren't part of your...
That's what it was.
Your community yet, that you got points. You got 3 extra points for each cube, and you only had 2, and I had 4.
And you had the bonus from the park.
Yes.
So you got a bunch of
13
points. That won you that last game.
Oh.
Think about it. Luck of the draw.
Luck of the draw? No, just, using my resources. No, I'm kidding. So, you're going to be shocked at this.
Okay.
Because I'm shocked at this.
Yeah.
But this would be a keep it to play game.
Ooh.
But it did take 8 plays for me to decide that, because the first 8 plays, I did not like this game. I'm going to be completely honest. I thought it was boring. I was annoyed with the rats. And I was just like, there's no way to do things. And then after that, and when I gave up on the rats, I was just like, oh, wait, there's depth.
That really does shock me, because I've found that the faster you play a game, the less you like it.
Yes, that's very true.
And it seemed like we were blasting through some of those rounds at like 15 minutes, but I think our average play time was about 25. I also found myself enjoying it more those last few rounds as well, and I've played this game prior to us doing this 10 by 10. I am a keep it to play for this as well, because I really enjoyed those last few rounds and I want to dive into it some more.
I know, I want to come back to it because I have another strategy in mind that I want to try to see if that'll be the best one.
Nice.
And of course it's Renaissance theme, so
yeah, of course.
I naturally have a soft spot for it.
Well, thank you for playing that with me, Julie. I had fun.
Of course, Dave, and thank you. Thank you as well for listening to us this week. If you would like to see what games we're playing or what we're up to, feel free to join us on our Instagram. Our Instagram is Dice Jesters, and then you could also email us. So you can email us games you would like us to try, games you have questions of, or if you want a little bit more of in-depth questions in regards to our 10 by 10s and the games we have played, feel free to email us at the dicejesters@gmail.com. We're also on Patreon, where you can find some bonus content there under Dice Jesters as well. And as the final move is made and the grand cathedral bells toll, we bid farewell to our noble role. Until our next gathering, may your mind stay sharp, but for now, we must depart.